and this moment, like where we're at right now, we can stretch this moment out and stretch it out and stretch it out, and it's going to become easier and easier as the vibrations increase, as the frequencies increase. And to me, this is the most joyous time in my existence. And that's, again, the synchronicities. Getting to do this show on this day, I couldn't have timed this better if I tried to plan it. You know,
and we did try to plan it. It didn't work.
And we did. It was funny the way it went. I said, well, how about Monday? And you go, well, how about Thursday? I go, okay, Thursday's good.
No, and we tried to plan it back. We tried this back in December, and circumstances came along that, you know, it just couldn't work, and we don't need to get into that. But, you know, circumstances developed, and I just always had the faith that what I heard in November was right, and so did you. So we just had to wait for things to get out of the way. But and then even for the day on 3/3, woo.
Yeah, and I think you even said something when we finally came up with the final day. You said, "Oh, that's a good numerological day. It's 3/3," and I'm like, "Yeah." And then and it kept ringing in my head, 3/3. That's another day too, and it hit me yesterday. It's the first day of the first day of the first Universal Underworld night, and this Universal night is going to last for 8 days.
Explain that with what you're saying right now, because a lot of people, I'm sure, just aren't following you. And as soon as you're done with that, I have to put in a shameless plug for the guest call-in number.
You bet. You betcha. Real quick, it's what I was saying, how everything is reduced by 20 times from the beginning of the cellular age, which was the very first or the ninth level of the 9-step pyramid. And so in this universal age, which actually started the first day of the 7-day, 6-night universal age, started on February 10th. Now that was the getting ready for the rest of it, and that's this 234 days. So from today on, every 18 days, it's going to get 20 times faster. We're going to get 20 times more information, and that'll go on until October 28th. And it's people will really, really start. This is going to separate the people that need to relearn who they're not to the people who are ready to learn who they really are. This is kind of like the ones that are out of balance will go more out of balance. The ones that are going into balance will go more into balance.
Kind of like what I say at the end of all my radio shows: be who you were created to be, and I always stress created. You're saying the same thing. Shameless plug. If you have if you're not on, and I know this is Bear's show, but we just want to turn around and get everybody involved. We do have a call-in number, 323-657-0909. Actually, Bear and I are co-hosting it. It's his show. He asked me to co-host with him. He's got to get back in the groove of doing this radio thing, and so I'm just going to take a couple of small leads here, Brother Bear. Again, call-in number 323-657-0909. Our first hour is getting Bear back into the groove of being back on the radio, and the second hour we will have a really special brother and man, and just an amazing guy. He's Brother Phil, which he likes to be called, but it's Chief Phil Lane. He's a true 100% native. And Bear, we're going to talk about that with you in the sweat lodges as well, so people understand about you. You're just as genuine. But if you're on Blog Talk Radio, we got our chat open. If you have a question for Bear, and even later on with Brother and Chief Phil Lane, please go ahead and post a question. If you want to call in and ask a question, that's great. Lynn, who is also known as Liz, we've got double names on there. One is a nickname, one is a real name. And I started out with Liz because that's my nickname for her. But great producer. She'll be glad to answer your call, and will speak with you. So we got that out of the way. Bear, let's let people know why you're called QuietBear, because this is the Bear Truth. That's the name of your show, and you are QuietBear. And a lot of people, when you were on the other Blog Talk Radio network, didn't really know your background and how you got that name, what you went through. What is your real Native American background into learning, especially spiritually, of what the First Nation in North America is all about?
Well, thanks, Michael. On the chat thing, real quick, I want to say, every time I try to log in as a co-host on the chat room, it boots me right out. So I can't see any questions on there.
All right, I'll get them. No problem. We'll figure that out.
Yeah, that's just speed bumps. Well, where things really changed for me, and I just had my 29th birthday for this, was on January 30th of 1982 at 4:53 p.m. I was stabbed by a shoplifter. I was working as an undercover store detective. Up until that very day, I always wanted to help people. Even then, I was going to be a cop to protect and serve, not the type of cops that we have today, mostly with the jackbooted thugs. And so I wanted to be a cop, and so I was waiting to go into the Sacramento Police Department, waiting for my hire date. And so I arrested the shoplifter. He stabbed me. I died. I was dead for nearly 10 minutes. And in that time, it was no time for me. I had the full near-death experience, but it was different in that I was gone for a very long time. And I was watching people upset when I was out of my body. One moment I was in my body, the next minute I was out of my body. And I was watching people being upset, and I couldn't understand why they were so upset, because I felt fine. All I felt was love at that moment. And I was with Creator, and Creator reminded me of the choice that I had made before I ever incarnated, which was to help remind our brothers and sisters that we're all one. And that's what I was sent back with, and that's the task I re-accepted. And from there, I went on a chaotic journey for about 7 years, trying to figure out who I was. And then I started learning about shamanism, and I wanted to know more. And I knew that it was really hard living here, because I knew that all of this was a lie. I knew I was shown how it was a fabricated illusion to keep us distracted from our true reason for being created, as you stated. And so I was in Sedona, Arizona, before it became really super popular, or as it was becoming popular. And I was standing in a vortex, which is an energy, it feels like an energy tornado, and I was standing in it, and it sounded like the wind stopped, the birds stopped singing, and I heard a voice say, please sit on the ledge behind you. And I looked behind me, and sure enough, there's a ledge. So I sat down on it, and this voice said, welcome, QuietBear. And I was like, wow, okay, who's QuietBear? And then it said, pause, and it said, welcome, QuietBear. And again, I was like, okay, so I'm going to welcome QuietBear. I'm ready to meet QuietBear. And then it said, welcome, QuietBear. And I went, oh, my God, I'm QuietBear. And then it said, yes, now go be that. And then there was a lot of really super synchronistic events. I went to a drum circle later that night, and the guy literally stopped the drum circle as I entered and said, welcome, QuietBear. I'd never met the man before in my life. I ended up studying with him for a month after that night, as of that night. And then I moved down from Northern California down to Arizona, and I met a group of people that were studying the Twisted Hairs teachings of the elders of Turtle Island. And when I very first heard that term, my whole being just reverberated, and I knew that I was supposed to relearn these teachings. And what these teachings are is they're the teachings of a group of people that started around 13,000 years ago, going from tribe to tribe to tribe all over North, Central, and South America, and at that time Australia, because it was right up next to South America. And at that time, that was what was known as Turtle Island. Turtle Island now is known by different indigenous people, some as North, Central, and South America, others as the Earth. According to our teachings, Turtle Island is the Americas. And so the Twisted Hairs part comes from each groups of these people, as they would travel with the tribes, when they were ready to move on and go to a new tribe, they would each cut their hair. The head shaman of the Twisted Hairs tribe, and the shaman of the tribe they were with would each cut a lock of their hair, trade it, and weave it back into their hair. They would twist it into their hair, and that was the representation of the shared knowledge and wisdom between the two tribes, between the peoples. And so the Twisted Hairs were nomadic and on purpose. Our purpose of being here is to learn and gather all we can from all peoples of the world to integrate that into a balanced way of living, so that we can be balanced two-legged. And that's what it's all been about. The teachings went underground when the Spanish invaded Turtle Island and became a truly oral tradition, and were kept hidden in secret until the early 1980s, when they were given to a man named QuietBear, and he was made an elder and was initiated in, and then he was given the teachings to reveal, and that's who I learned from, and from many other teachers in the Twisted Hairs. And so I entered. I didn't get my name once I started. I already had my name, and then it was learning to become that name. My actual, the names that we gather along our path, mine is QuietBear, Cloud Speaker, Walks with Open Blade. And then my sacred name is Thunder Buffalo, and that's what I use during ceremony. And then my warrior name is QuietBear, Hunts with Vile Rage. And each of those names are things that we live when we put on our different masks for the work that we do. And in this tradition, we don't do a lot of the ritual that you see with a lot of the native peoples, where they do the same ritual every single time with no change. And that works for them. We don't say that that's wrong. Our way of doing things is to learn their rituals and then to expand on them, and then so that we're at one point in time, we are always walking in ritual. We are always walking in a sacred path. Each footstep being sacred, each thought being sacred, so that we're always in ceremony. And that's the level that I've attained in my life most of the time, until if I slip up and I listen to the ego thinking it's me, and which is what the ego's best at, to come in and distract us. And that's through the initial training, I went through 3 years of training in 1 year so that I could perform certain ceremonies that needed to be performed to help the earth. And in doing this, oh boy, the choo-choo train just went by.